Gabe from Kentucky, congratulations. You're the lucky one that's made it at the end. We've got 3 minutes to talk to you. So let's hear it.
I'm super honored, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call. Dan, I'm a big fan. I've watched at least half of the Truth Wanted archive.
Hell yeah.
Not
That's
as
what I
familiar
like
with this show, so sorry if I'm off topic or whatever, but I just saw the poll in the chat about if we would be better off without religion. I'm an atheist. I was in a cult for 20 years. And what happened to me is it was Mormon. I'm an ex-Mormon. I was Pentecostal before that, and then converted to Mormonism and found my way out eventually. And I think that if we just snapped our fingers and got rid of religion, we'd just be trading a different problem for the same thing. Because in my mind, religion is a symptom of the human psyche being vulnerable to manipulation and control.
Nicely said, Gabe. I exist. I exist. I agree. I exist in a state of agreement. I agree. That's true. We've got like an instinct for magical thinking. It's probably a confluence of many different shortcuts that our brains employ. And
I agree.
That's well said, though.
What happened to me is that I kept running into like I got out of religion and then went right into an employment cult. It wasn't an MLM, but that gets you thinking the right direction. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm still missing something. And then I went into a relationship and applied magical thinking to that, and it ended up being horribly abusive. And skepticism, like being able to stop and say, wait a minute, do I have a good reason for thinking this, is the only thing snapping me out of it. And I think we should, rather than talk about how do we get rid of religion, I think we need to talk about how to educate people on how to think skeptically.
Yeah,
100% agree with you.
Because if we teach people how to think skeptically, I think religion's just going to evaporate.
Yeah. Well, it's like, when you look at this is not me making like an ageist comment or something, but just like Gen Z, just looking at TikTok, just looking at the rise in current popular ideas in the culture right now, heathenry as in the belief in God's heathenry is more popular now than it was 10 years ago. Witchcraft, more popular than it was 10 years ago. Like crystals, more popular than it was. I mean, a lot of these other subcultures have risen, and it's not because it's a simple rejection of religious thought altogether, but it's a rejection of the identities that organized religion has come across, and people finding new ways in which they can integrate, new ways in which they can identify with some of these beliefs. But of course, the core problem that you see in both of these things is critical thinking, but also support systems and ways of conversation for people to even talk about the possible skeptical implications of this. I mean, when you're in the Christian church, there's nobody that's coming into the church that's like, yeah, but what if all this isn't real, right? Like, there's no encouragement of those kinds of conversations. Same thing with these other, obviously subcultures and sort of sociological phenomenons. I'm uncomfortable using the word religious phenomenon because I don't know if the people who study this for a living would agree with that per se, but there's definitely a subcultural phenomenon that's happening of people finding their identity in spiritualist matters. And I think that's because of a disintegration of the church, but also, again, a rejection of these other values and finding organizations or loose organizations of people that tend to have the same values as them. Anyway, that's a long way to say I agree with you, but
yeah,
for sure.
I agree. And, thanks so much for calling, Gabe. I agree.
Yeah.
I think that we're on the front of dealing with people that call in to talk about religious beliefs, but we always end up going toward skepticism, toward standards of proof, epistemology, and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it looks like we should be attacking religion directly. And that is a front on which this social war is taking place. There's so many other places. Getting people the education that they need.
Well, yeah,
raising.
It's only part of the puzzle, right? It's
part of it.
As in my case, I got out of the religion, but that didn't mean I automatically knew how to be skeptical. So I just ended up right back into it. And I mean, think about Jenny Thomas. You know, she gets out of a cult years ago, and now she's all QAnon and whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, thank
I'll
you so much for.
Thank you for taking the call, Dan. I'm going to call Truth Wanted sometime because I want to talk. I want to push back on antinatalism sometime. But
oh shit!
That'll be
day. More hot takes on antinatalism. That's what I need. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you for calling in today, and thanks for the topic there right at the end of the show.
Dan, we don't need to be fighting religion necessarily directly all the time. We need to stick the spear of Longinus into the final angel. Right. And then we all turn into LCL. I mean,
we all turn into Orange
the spear of Longinus of skepticism and critical thinking into the final angel of magical thinking, and we'll achieve
Johnny, there's going to be
universality. What is that called? What is that called, Dan?
Instrumentality. Johnny, there's like 50 people at most that understand what we're talking about. You understand that this is a very isolating phenomenon that you've introduced here. But you know,
if you haven't watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, what are you doing?
It's very good. It's very good.
With your life?
I love it. I love it. Anyway, we are at the end of the show. So thank you again for everybody who called in.